C'est avec fierté et avec une profonde joie que j'annonce à l'Assemblée nationale les débuts des travaux de la phase 2 avec un développement très important de 7,5 milliards de dollars et quelques 40 000 nouveaux emplois ou à des personnes au cours des prochaines années.
It's a snowflake falling into the heart that's calling for the warm. We are hot and warm. It's a snowflake falling.
Said time and time again, we don't want confrontation. You're pushing us. You're pushing our people.
County Quebec, you only have 4 minutes to leave the community. 4 minutes.
So are you going to leave or not? That's all we ask.
This dream has become a nightmare for us. It has destroyed our spawning grounds, it has destroyed the nesting grounds, it has displaced and relocated our people and broke the social fabric of our communities. When you feel that you've got that right to continue to hunt, fish, and trap in the first agreement, then that's literally taken away from you. Yes, we are mad.
No, James Bay 2.
Développer l'hydroélectricité, c'est conquérir le nord du Québec. Alors, vous dites quel sentiment, je veux dire, je le dis d'une façon très humble, c'est le conquérant. On se trouve à conquérir le nord du Québec, économiquement parlant.
People have elected me to represent them. As a representative, they gave me the mandate to do all that is necessary within the political structure, within judicial structure, to oppose and stop the James Bay 2 project.
A generating station would be built on the right bank of the river at 285 kilometers from the mouth of the river. After passing through the turbine, the water would be discharged through a tunnel and a tailrace canal to the river. a reservoir would be created and a spillway would be built on the left bank of the river. Land would be flooded on an area of 1,774 square kilometers. 7 main dams would be required, and the mean annual flow reduction in the estuary would be 85% in the Great Whale River and 94% in the Little Whale River.
It's going to be done in a Cree way, Cree custom to be followed. It is the elders that will speak first. Yes. The elders will be speaking first. The elders, we of course are including the women there. Definitely want the women to come up. I mean, I've been to meetings when Matthew knows, and our women are silent, but I know they have a lot to say. Because as soon as the meeting is over, they always say, "Egungaji da, Engawideya." Yeah, that's right. In my mind, I do not see it as one day for the elders. No. We got a plan that they speak every day. They set the tone for Monday, for Tuesday, for Wednesday, for Thursday.
Simitigma ikumuli ako si na mangilangan nato. Sana la persona de chugo. Sai kolo ikilangan na mga ti kumauti alin. Suliape agati ikumuli ako mo hamata. Tama na hadlo na no to hame.
Ano magkuha ko siya ng nakibigo to. Ano way kahit na daw start mo so we should get the few siya yung isa na. Namoy show us it.
You wish to develop here in the north. You have developed in the north, and we have felt the effects of it. And our elders say that we will no longer allow development. We will not allow Great Whale to go through. You talk about anger. We have anger because we are saying no more. Enough is enough.
You're up against, an enormous lobby of interests, of constructors, of industry, and of government. We're talking billions, literally billions and billions of dollars. Hydro-Quebec and the Quebec economy, basically, figures that the government figures are going to make money out of this. You have to realize that.
So we cannot go and compromise. We made a mistake. We made that mistake in the James Bay Agreement. Well, we shouldn't have. Now we realize that, so people are starting to understand it in that context.
I understand entirely the position being taken, and I think it's a very noble position. We have to be careful not to play in the hands of Hydro-Quebec. Hydro-Quebec doesn't give a hoot about that. You can take this noble position and go and see Hydro-Quebec, go see the world and say, this is our noble position. Hydro-Quebec will say, oh, that's fine, that's your noble position, so who cares? We got the laws on our side, we got the courts, we got the police, we got the army on our side. They don't even understand what you're talking about. So what I'm saying is take the stance, fight the project from principle, but don't be naive about it. You have to get the message out to the world. You have to use the international forums, the courts, whatever is available to you to stop the project.
Agrastan Brasak White, Kibadaskutum Charodai, Choda, Max Toshivicha. I think about get years ago, I got so much in the little diagonal. Never get you, not least of my budget style. Mascrai got at the Jibat Stone to that town as much of job opening to Spanish to Diagonal. Never like Mascrai and I gonna need to watch it that no waking after me outside the James Spain's commonia head with my gender, Satana, and I'm just tired of Anigua skudam tal ge mag maskna. Kumagina snack chin aga gwant taxi yo. Jaji na ai ma diga ba chi jasho to Quebec. Ada snack ga jaji no taxi mo na dai nam smoke mastis. But I don't see what smoke one house to go to jaji yo. Or the jaji na no serious ga na da janach. Ga ga we all shwan ma. Shwan ma ga da mtsi. Jaji ji ya to ba yo sti. I guess I touch it, that it's like my good age. That New York and that Georgia, I got a hot no that's in New England. The just sounded today.
Do I have a chance? Hola.
Passion, rising up, getting you down on the floor. Every morning, words to show. Every morning, think of the time. I'm sure just how make it go, make it real. No fear, just a need. Got to succeed.
The people of Udiak, the Cree Inuit of Great Whale River, build this ark. We are like Noah, who built an ark to save the world.
Passion.
Where is our world?
Passion.
And that will be underwater.
Rising up.
This journey, called the Voyage of Odiak, is a present-day enactment of similar journeys of the last century by American Plains Indians to plead their grievances to U.S. presidents. We salute the courage of these people in undertaking this historic journey to New York City from remote Hudson Bay near the Arctic to save their homeland.
Alors, le projet Grande Baleine, à travers tout ça, est un projet en otage. Alors, l'enjeu, bien au-delà du projet Grande Baleine, c'est l'enjeu de la propriété des richesses naturelles. Alors, ce que vous entendez, il faut le comprendre à l'intérieur d'une stratégie globale d'autonomie gouvernementale où les Cris demandent d'avoir le contrôle du territoire.
A group of Cree and Inuit after an incredible journey from the Arctic and the Odiak, a combination of canoe and kayak, they will be at the Woodstock Town Hall tonight with an urgent message for the people of Vermont. Stop buying power from Hydro-Quebec.
80% of our people still live off the land. They live off hunting, fishing, and trapping. And with this project, the habitat of the wildlife will be destroyed. When that happens, there goes our culture. And we are the majority of people living in that area. And we don't have a say in what the government wants to do.
So, I mean, here you have that situation where 15,000 people are holding hostage the rest of the province and its economic development. How long can it last? Not very long.
We understand that you are stopping here to deliver a message which I think many of us in the legislature are ready to receive. To many New Yorkers and Americans, it's way up there in the Arctic. Out of sight, out of mind, never been there. And what's there? Tundra, you know, muskeg, a couple of black spruce trees. What can that matter? Well, it does matter. And it matters to New York State because we now buy some of that hydropower. Mr. Hinchy and I are introducing legislation that would say very simply, unless a certifiable environmental impact statement is done, New York will buy no more hydropower.
Passion, 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 rising up, getting you down on the verge.
To build a dam, block any of the rivers here in America, near your cities, there'd be an outcry. But when it happens on Indian lands, they ask us to move over. Move over, Indian, because we're gonna build. We're saying it's unacceptable.
It's a struggle for right to life. Right to culture, right to Mother Earth. Help us save our rivers. I don't know who the public relations brains are behind this, but they have been exquisite. They have aced it, really. Absolutely. Yeah. They made corporate Hydro-Quebec look like dunces. Like lead-footed dunces.
The campaign that the Crees have had in the States and in Europe, all over the world, maybe they were successful at it, but are they Quebecers or not? They live in our territory, they live with us, they work with us, I hope. They're still Quebecers, and they're penalizing Quebecers for that. And that's what I cannot accept, and I will never accept.
They don't think they're Quebecers.
Well, I hope they still live in Quebec.
So
because their territory that they claim is theirs is still ours. We haven't given it up yet.
So you do blame them?
Yes, I blame them for what they've been doing. I blame them for discrediting Quebec all over the world. Do you think a Quebecer can accept that? I don't think so.
Amastay Goskadam Channel, and stars from Chada Janziga, about you cheat the drums to go shoot that Bishmotat. Bagmagano and Zabaphedan, Chegaska, Gabapia, Wapamcha, Hogat Canadian. Robert Kennedy, Sinkasi, Hagwag, and Zabaphead, and Australia, these guys. Gia Inas Novitanita is to I know, Guy, like with the Mashido Joanjim.
We've lived here for 5,000 years. We survived against incredible odds sometimes. The land, the most central thing in our lives, is to be destroyed. We'll be alive physically, yes, but as a people, we will be dead, because our culture, our whole tradition, our values all came from the land. The land was given to us by the Creator, not as something to be owned, not as something to be changed, but something to be cared for, to be shared with other people, and to be cherished, and to be passed on to our children. I don't know what the future holds for my people, but I do know one thing. They won't do what they did to our brothers and sisters in Chasibi when they built the LeGrand project. They didn't warn us, they didn't tell us nothing. They simply went ahead and did it. And by the time we found out about it, we had already lost. They asked us to put our name on a piece of paper that gave us rights.
Je l'ai écrit et les Inuits cèdent en entier leurs droits et réclamations sur les terres situées au Québec, à l'exception de droits exclusifs relatifs à l'usage de certaines terres désignées à l'intérieur et aux environs de leur communauté. Elle prévoit également le paiement d'une somme de 225 millions en indemnités et en redevances énergétiques aux Autochtones au cours des 20 prochaines années.
When the agreement was signed, I was too young to take part in proceedings, so I'm the first generation to inherit the agreement. LeGrand, to the south of us, has been totally destroyed. It's a wasteland. So often we hear from our brothers and sisters in Jasasibi. We hear of social disorder. We hear of deaths. We hear of flooded graves. And a total destruction of the land. Now, this project, this so-called Great Whale Complex, we have your own governors and people in power, again, asking you to be a party to destroying what you experienced out there. And I ask you, just think about it. I don't ask you to support me. I only ask you to listen and let your conscience be your guide.
How was your week on the trap line?
Oh, it's really good. I had a wonderful time with my son and my daughter. It was nice. Nice to be out on the land again. But there's new developments. They got a road going on top of the Odious Mountains, you know. That's sad. Because you see all these, when you go up north now into Mistasi, you meet all these forestry trucks, you know, carrying your trees, and you meet all these trucks that are carrying minerals. and all the natural resources are extracted. You don't benefit from a dime. And there's no revenue sharing, no form of partnership, you know. You're expected just to go crawl into the government for handouts. So going out, you know, I felt anger, you know, something eating me up, you know. It's never ending, huh? It's never ending. Mega projects, next is gonna be forestry. Struggle just continues, you know. It doesn't stop.
The Superior Court of Quebec found that Hydro-Quebec entered the Cree lands without permission and without a treaty. We remain very concerned
about the lack of fundamental procedural rights?
Yeah, about the lack of fundamental procedural rights.
Why don't you see maybe more efficient for you to sort of say what you want and then we can...
Because it's important that people know that this is a reenactment of what's been happening to Indian people since the beginning of time. And that's the picture that we want to draw. And that's why we got 5,000 new members from this. It's because people are outraged by that. And it's exactly what's happening here. It's just wearing a different cloak. You know, and that's why people get emotional about this, because it's the same thing that's been happening for 500 years. It's the same thing that happened in the Black Hills and everywhere else. It's just done with all this cloak of legality, and what we're doing is we're tearing apart the legality and we're going back and showing that this is a metaphor for what's been happening to the Indians since the beginning of time.
Il faut quand même être logique. Et les Autochtones au Québec sont traités beaucoup mieux que la plupart des Autochtones aux États-Unis. Alors, M. Kennedy, s'il veut prendre une cause, Robert Kennedy, je parle pas des Kennedy, mais je parle de Robert Kennedy Jr., il ferait bien de s'occuper des Autochtones américains avant de s'occuper des nôtres.
What did he say? Did he laugh?
Oh, yeah. He didn't know what he said.
Good to see you.
You're here on the Hydro-Quebec?
Yeah, you bet. My brother Bobby.
Hey, how are you?
Good, how are you?
I really want to
We're hoping to
introduce
get you up there this summer.
This is the Grand Chief.
How are you? Doing well. It's nice to see you.
Same here.
Good. Good to see you, Mike. Good luck with this thing.
The Cree aren't saying we don't want hydropower. They're saying we want an environmental review first. And we want to make sure that it's a strong environmental review. And Quebec has not given them that, and the indications are that they're not going to get it. And so Quebec has offered them a lot of money, maybe even $1 billion. And they said, no, we don't want to take it until we know what we don't want to buy a pig in a poke. Sure. We want to know what we're negotiating for.
It's important for us to be able to have an avenue which we do not have in Canada, to really look at all the economic considerations, the viability of this project.
I think it's a good investment, Bill. It's a good way of kicking the tires before buying the car.
I understand what you're saying. I believe I grasp it, that you don't want to rely simply upon what's happening up there, where people so far have not shown a sensitivity to your concerns.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. It's nice to see you again.
Good to see you.
All right. Take care. Take care, Michael. Good to see you. It's a pleasure to see you. Thank you for coming by. Thank you for coming by.
Thank you very much.
All right, we appreciate you very much. Nice to see you.
Mr. Speaker, I think that the Great Whale River project in Quebec will be an environmental, a human rights, and an economic disaster should a contract be signed between the Power Authority of New York and Hydro-Quebec.
I have never, until a couple of weeks ago, heard anyone talk about hydropower being more detrimental to the environment.
Tony Genovese, Mr. Brooklyn. No one plays politics in Canada or anywhere the way they play in Brooklyn. They play it real dirty and for keeps.
And this guy's essentially a liberal, and he's a good government fellow. And he said, Bill, get this bill off my back. These little kids are in my club, they're in my neighborhood, they're blocking my answering service. He says, well, I never heard of James Bay before this session. I don't know about Crees, I don't know about Hydro-Quebec, I know where Canada is, but now all I talk about is, I usually deal with bread and butter issues, taxes and services for the people and keep the rents down for my poor people. Now they're talking about James Bay. What's this world come to? That's great.
This full-page ad appeared today in the prestigious New York Times. It was paid for by the Grand Council of the Cree and by several American environmental groups at a cost of $40,000. The ad portrays Quebecers as the worst environmental offenders and states that the James Bay project constitutes a death warrant for the Cree Nation. It claims that the Cree have lost their lands because of flooding and that they can no longer fish because of the mercury contamination.
Est-ce qu'elle conviendra pas que c'est dans le New York Times qu'il faut rectifier les choses? Est-ce qu'elle conviendra pas que ce journal est un des plus lus, enfin, des plus importants de tous les quotidiens qu'il y a dans le monde? Est-ce qu'il va falloir 3 comités, un comité de coordination entre le cabinet, le gouvernement, l'Hydro-Québec? Est-ce qu'il va falloir tout ça pour que le gouvernement de Québec ou l'Hydro-Québec, conjointement ou solidairement, prennent 40 000 $, achètent une page dans le New York Times, puis corrigent les faits?
I think a lot of Quebecers would agree with the Cree that Hydro-Quebec doesn't do everything right. But this isn't any old company, Hydro-Quebec. This is, the instrument of emancipation of La Belle Province. It is the way Quebec went from an age of darkness to an age of light. And you just don't beat up on a sacred cow, which Hydro-Quebec is.
But Hydro-Quebec has not turned up at some hearings down here, Mr. Drouin. Is this an indication that Hydro-Quebec feels it may be losing a public relations battle?
Well, you can interpret it in the way you want. We've just decided that we wouldn't now be present. Up to recently, we were not present in the markets that we were selling to. South of the border, as you know, when we sell electricity, we sell it at the border, and it's up to the client to pick it up from there. So now I think it's, because we're challenged directly, I think it's our duty to be there. Thank you very much.
A lot of people were asking questions. What are the Crees doing in New York, as an example? Why are we concentrating in overseas? I really believe that we should start building bridges over to the Quebec wall. Get a whole debate going on the Quebec energy policy. You got to light the fire somewhere, and the fire that you light is in the Quebecois society. And that fire has to be the energy policy in Quebec.
And I don't know what would happen should Quebec secede from Canada, of how Quebec would treat its First Nations here in Quebec. So in order to protect ourselves, we also got to be able to be out there in the international community, and to be able to make sure that we're there to highlight of what is being done now, because we will need that support.
We're up against a lot. We know that as a small nation. What we need to do beyond the lobbying work that's been done by our political representatives is to bring the strength of the nation, and that's the grassroots voice. And we know that there are political interests out there that are geared towards not listening to the voice of the grassroots people.
We've been working with them for 10 years. NRDC is
Don't forget that our political leadership has been caught in the bind of operating with a non-native political system and have operated in a way that typical politicians operate, where they tend to forget the community voice.
That's the image either I have created or the media had created, and that's fine, as long as I know where my heart is. I know where my people are. I'm away from home a lot, and it takes its toll.
Thank you, Jesus. You might put the madman on your seat. You're going to be a dog and it's a bam people dog. I got most you have much dog and it's a bice people dog. We all. Thank you, Jesus. You might be the madman that you're going to be a dog. Jesus Christ. Amen. Thank you, Jesus' name. Amen.
There's a lot of tug, a pull, conflict in terms of wanting to hunt, fish, and trap. But you can't. You need somebody out there. And I feel that I can contribute. But there definitely is a drawback, because you're walking on cement. I learned from my grandfather. You want to go after an animal, you have to know his every move. You have to think like him. I have to know how Hydro-Quebec works, how they think, and I have to sometimes be in the offensive, sometimes in the defensive, and to make sure that my mind's focused. When we signed the James Bay Northern Quebec Agreement, we agreed to one project and one project only. And we have paid the price. We have paid it dearly. But yet Hydro-Quebec says that we received compensation. That is the problem with your society. Do you think you can solve problems by asking how much? We can pay you. We can compensate you. But no amount of money can replace the wealth of the land.
À court terme, ils peuvent avoir marqué l'opinion publique, puis ça coïncide bien pour eux parce qu'il y a une baisse de la demande. Mais quand la demande va s'imposer, parce que la croissance zéro, on ne peut pas vivre avec la croissance zéro, avec tous les besoins qu'on a comme société. Quand la demande va s'imposer, je suis convaincu qu'à ce moment-là, ils vont dire quels sont les choix. Ils ont fermé dans l'État de New York Shoreham, qui était une centrale nucléaire. Est-ce qu'ils vont rouvrir les centrales nucléaires?
And let me tell you right now, those of you who think you are making an environmental vote on this are dead wrong. It's not about the environment. It's not about the Indian nation. It's all about money.
Let's get rid of those polluting plants, those plants that are polluting our environment. Let's get rid of them now.
But let's get the electricity produced by New Yorkers.
Ladies and gentlemen, I urge a yes vote.
Governor Mario Cuomo said the contract was canceled because the state can meet its energy needs through conservation. He added that
les économies d'énergie auront finalement eu raison du plus gros contrat d'exportation.
My wife said, "We won." And she said, "Stop the car and we'll dance." So we were dancing on the street.
It's an important victory. We knew we had to cancel the contract if we were going to win in terms of stopping the building of the Great Well Project. So it was a very important victory and a significant victory. So it is a victory and it's a victory party, but it's not the whole thing.
I think we've never been closer to canceling Great Well than now, okay? The question is, we have to go for the kill. And
it's winnable.
It's winnable.
It's winnable.
Now, is there some way to create a face-saving situation for Bourassa to either delay substantially Great Well or can it complete?
He's gonna do political deals to save his project. That's what he's gonna do.
C'est vrai que nous avons perdu le contrat qui, vendredi dernier, un contrat qui était très important. C'est un recul, mais ce n'est pas un échec.
It's a serious mistake for, say, environmental groups or people in the United States to think that they have driven Hydro-Quebec to their knees, in my view. A very serious mistake.
La suspension des négociations dans le dossier de NYPA nous porte encore à croire que Grande Baleine est l'option la plus intéressante.
Compte tenu des coûts marginaux de Grande Baleine 1, de GBA, est-ce qu'ici on ne peut pas voir qu'il y a une volonté politique d'occupation du territoire plutôt que d'exploiter l'électricité au meilleur coût?
Non. Non, non, pas du tout. Pas du tout. Je vous dis que nous examinons l'évaluation de ces projets-là en fonction des options d'Hydro-Québec pour fournir l'électricité en l'an 2000. Et il n'y a aucune considération politique dans les choix que nous faisons à ce moment-ci sur Grande Baleine par rapport à d'autres.
Et c'est pas une volonté pour Hydro-Québec de vouloir occuper le territoire?
Non, ce n'est pas une volonté pour nous d'occuper le territoire.
C'est uniquement économique?
Oui.
Malgré les dissidences qui apparaissent publiquement entre les populations CRI et Hydro-Québec ou le gouvernement, nous, à Hydro-Québec, nous avons signé une multitude d'ententes avec les CRI depuis, soit pour améliorer les ententes déjà existantes, soit pour faire des ententes reliées à des nouvelles composantes des projets. Et je pense que l'attitude publique, qui est une méthode de négociation, n'est pas la nôtre. Et pour nous, vous pourriez oublier la confrontation publique, puis on va continuer à négocier des ententes qui sont relatives à nos projets.
Still the whole colonialistic attitude, you know, of divide and conquer. If you can get one particular group on your side and favor them and work very well with them to try to demonstrate that they're cooperating with you. You know, you seem to have a mutual understanding, respect for each other, and they could use that with other bands, you know, use it against them. And the bands, in turn, if they don't recognize it, can be used as hostage by Hydro-Quebec.
io Hydro-Quebec Jachtajnia io negwashkudam io minimsto jashkudam chajna and that's open sketchy. Like I don't like I hit you we am Jab's not true and why is 50 million. Kia Gauden gone so and yeah but jashkudam chana that I that you. How I can Zagon and Joy item here I got icing and then say nana just Gianna Mac, what I that's a master Josh them China to say like I could buy on today Scabo Stein it. Daitum got so there's the big one school. At the Haga, I have a time ago, how that's Naxi. Like one, the other don't have a got somewhat towards more guys that's the night item could give up. No, I am all he go. I got Madon John Oaks. Mokshoy and I can't just sit dog. I got as if she's Yabadaitum garden it done back. And that's who I smack.
I'm all here. Yeah, I could have one dog on here. What's the mark? Get the mewash. No, it's not Siam. Zawan that hit a bit. I could sit down now, stand out, say, Tagna. The power.
No, I thought near you. Yeah, it watched the other two. Most we are so heated. Stuck on you, yeah, after I got him be hit. Soft on in it. I take it to each out. Go to the John G. I instantly them he go. Yes, you are watched, stuck should make home.
We don't have time to go fight and help Great Whale. We have alcohol and drug problems in the community, traditional family breakdown, family violence. We need a justice program, education, health. There are people that think that Great Whale is a stumbling block to get programs, to get services, and to get certain things from the government of Quebec.
Everything is all set.
As a leader, there's certain things that I have to recognize. That there's a time for everything. And as a leader, there's a time to fight. And there's a time to negotiate. And there's a time to make hard decisions. And as Grand Chief, I have to make those decisions that I feel that are in the best interest of my people.
We can no longer afford to negotiate land in exchange for money. It might mean challenging some of our political leadership to remind them that they were elected by the grassroots people, by the people themselves. And if the people choose to oppose any further development in the north and no negotiated agreements, well, these political leaders have to listen to that voice. And they have no right to go and make independent deals with Hydro-Quebec or the Quebec government or anyone.
There was a lot of heated discussions at the band meetings in regards to the agreement.
And I want to make it clear that we are not ready to start a war here, but rather to make sure that our concerns are taken into account.
And that the Cree Nation as a whole is aware of the implications of signing this agreement. What concerns our people here most is the fact that there has been no consultations as such with the bands. We have also a problem with respect to statements that have been made by some leaders, at council board meetings, to the effect that, we may have lost Great Whale.
I think if this agreement is signed, your legal position on Great Whale River is reinforced. It is not diminished. I think it is reinforced.
I disagree because The previous agreements, the complementary agreements, have not done that.
We expect that at least there will be a delay in the signature of the agreement until the Cree people have fully understood what it means.
Then Hydro will have the option of controlling the situation as whether it wants to sign or doesn't want to sign at any time. So you put yourself, when you're in your most vulnerable position, entirely into the legal hands of Hydro. And it's no skin off my back personally, whether it's done or it's not done.
I don't expect all the chiefs who represent their communities to be all on the same wavelength. And that's where it's difficult as a leader, because you have to make sure that everyone's views is heard. Because you're always weighing all kinds of factors. And sitten Matthew Makash, Danny Nichigoyo is Muxkadate Migu Neskechi Alan. Stingy West Bait Migo Nes Megaja Gabichemax Neska Gawimaxka and they can him stingy Jishjuanga, Jidaniska. Beijing Chaitanga. I had to go up the man in Skuman and Snana Kokia. I got to Mochka Imch Danton to Tichabich, the Jim Snanskia. Imam Daitman on Skumane, Egan get big Jagon Nastawe, a Jewinandum Skunkat, the Danish Wichiko, Danjinji Wenjij, a date called Gam to the town of Jimunactans, was where that's get them Chedanos, yeah, with the towns. Nage date man on Chiso up chair, yeah. The date in the Jim Snushanga, Gumsnushan, Chitgided Noix, Danagmukji Spigagia, the kitchen of the Dana datum kya. Egdag muk JG deanga. Egda.
Communicate. So the main thing they're going to be harping on is, does this mean that you're going to negotiate all the other parties? Yeah.
Once for 11 million, once for 1 million.
Even though this deal is unrelated to Great Whale, do you think there's a danger that your supporters, the opponents of Great Whale, might perceive your acceptance of this agreement as a sign that you're soft, as a sign that you can be bought, that the Cree can be bought off by developers?
Yes, I'm always concerned that other people, our supporters, may interpret this as us being soft. Really appreciate the support that we got, but in the end, who will be affected? It is our people that will be affected.
The land is our connection to our re-strengthening our spirit as a people. The more land's destroyed, the more of our spirit it is destroyed.
why would you be so agreeable and so willing to modify an agreement in light of the fact that we've heard that you folks signed the original agreement in 1975 under duress? In other words, if I were you and Hydro-Quebec came to me and said, by the way, it is now 1989 and we want to put 4 more substations, I would be telling Hydro-Quebec to take a hike.
The position that we're in and what James Bay won and the modifications that are made is that we live in a society in which we have to see how we can coexist, how we can live together. And in recognizing that society, which is Quebec, to meet Quebec's energy needs, we said, okay, you can build, Hydro-Quebec is asking, in order to meet its needs, that they can go ahead and make additional turbines or transmission lines.
So they needed CRE approval, correct? Is that what you're saying, Chief?
Yes, they needed CRE
so
approval.
So why give them the approval is what I'm saying to you. That's all.
This is a river that's already dead.
Yeah.
They've already built LG2, they've already built LG3, they've already built LG4.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you, Chief. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate your testimony. Chair will call Mr. Coppinger.
We must remember that we were studying this project since more than 10 years, so we had yet a lot of information to make the impact study. And we are quite confident that the 5,000 pages that we submit this morning respond or address all the concerns in the guidelines.
They offered you $130 million, would you take it?
No, we would not take the $130 million. We don't want the project. We don't want any compensation. We just want to preserve the land the way it is. That is our mission, and that's our mandate from our people.
What about the mercury problem? They talked about it as a temporary problem in 20, 30 years.
C'est trop tranquille, c'est pour ça que j'ai fait ça. Hey, est-ce qu'il y a quelqu'un qui a du feu? On veut avoir une traduction en cri avant de repartir le processus des grands baleines. C'est ça qu'on va dire. C'est ça que les gens vont dire dans le Nord. Penses-tu que les trappeurs vont lire tout ça en anglais, en français? Ça passera pas avec eux. C'est leur territoire que vous affectez ici. Franchement. Tiens.
The people of Mark, they've always said that we've been manipulated by the advisors.
Matthew, just because some of our personal differences may go back many, many years, I don't believe that that has affected your judgment or my judgment. You've had your own lawyer for a year. So if someone has been manipulating, it isn't this cap. So I find it hard to believe after all these years and having worked with some of the Wapagustui people that they, all of them, really believed that I and the other advisors were deliberately trying to deceive them. That as well, I want to negotiate the Great Whale River project. I'm afraid that I have to say categorically no to both.
I don't know if you're becoming a liability to the Crees. You know, maybe you are, you know?
No one has any lessons to give to me about my personal commitments to Indian people. I've said a few times, and I'll say again, and I'll say this today at this table, and I mean it. If I'm the problem for the Cree Nation, I will go. But I think what you're really criticizing is your own policies and your own decisions over the past, because these have been taken collectively, and we've all made mistakes.
It's no more yes guys, no? Whatever O'Reilly says, we'll say yes. It's no longer that.
I've told you before, and I'll tell you again, I'm prepared to let go as soon as you say, let go, bang. That's it. No, I'm serious.
Everybody wants to be the one leading, including consultants and lawyers. And they fight amongst themselves to see which one's going to be the one listened to, which advice is going to be listened to by the Cree leadership. And more division is being created. I've watched that. And I've seen it. But it's time that this internal manipulation stop for the benefit of the Cree Nation. That we all sit down and work together. And if anybody that wants to walk the other way and have their own agenda, get out of the circle. Enough is enough. We're destroying each other. And we will never win this case if we continue the way we're going. And every politician, every Cree chief better start listening.
Tässä on jo vuonna käsissä pitää nämä askelun channels. Mä join käy hei tuoton ko. Sitä Jimmy opio käskun job tänä no at pino to chibin askel gas na chin käis nak. Sitä mä käy join ti ko hi chega haga ko I have joined high test. Mä käy straight tag no what ja ikot to max na da kam. Så de så jeg hjem hit og kan jeg jin dok hit og også når sina kan aftom ko. Skum hakana jan stuina no. Så sait mag kan jait na no jan stuina to da kam. I told you I got Mr. Funny. Yeah. An honor to have you here.
Well, it took me 3 days to get here.
Yeah. The white man has not controlled the weather yet.
The grandfathers say that this struggle is not going to be easy, that we will fight for the very last of the lands that have not been taken away from us. Enough has been done to our people, and there'll be no more. No more. This is our last stand, and we will win. Egon Mokjait kom Shewenjit. Skumna.
Ent käbe jasu hamanet. Skutega optmania maki. Dichuet chin. Ijibejuit moda ha. No kom. Esa optmana chida. Dei tabian. Dantent kajit godstat. Neme opmgonjim shem stugajida. Neme nana dog magno dona shem sadn jagon. Ek muhtemak des chis. Niske optman. Ni shibe ka jet hagno kochi. Ni shopona da chas muida ha. As you go smaller. No kom. Nagawi guy shit. Bet we jona hatch. Skit sit down dan ha. Niana go kom. Ni go up deck. And she swapped them and some shrimp shook hanging out. And then you guy dead. You're gonna get this man. mukna kamka and nanakanam kaisnakshik. Agamoka jap weapon goik. Jiji pagawik jin custom. Wisagati ko and ha. Kaya mukdano ay tudagik chedodagik.
Niga batvaga inana jin kosan jabatak jin chikasiga je aniga tikne nagansk Quebec Robert Brassa ke pietak shonia todagot jachniga tikwa raswa kasiga jagwa tax the site magmagan na speech agona get just jagon ne action ne watitagot jin dot mastum wagwan.
Je quitte donc avec la satisfaction du devoir accompli. Avec mon équipe, j'ai assumé le destin du Québec en donnant le meilleur de moi-même et en essayant toujours de respecter la liberté et la dignité de mes concitoyens.
Voulons-nous devenir un peuple normal dans un pays qui y appartient?
The new government was elected with a very clear agenda, making Quebec an independent country. Now, that means a country with the present borders that Quebec enjoys now, including the James Bay area, all the areas that the natives say are theirs. Now, it's obvious the Parti Québécois is going to have a hell of a time selling its project of an independent country abroad if the native groups like the Cree are saying, we want no part of that. We want to keep our land for ourselves. It's obvious the Cree have become the #1 thorn in the side of the Parti Québécois, and they also, by the same measure, are gaining tremendous bargaining power in terms of hydro development projects in the north.
There will be no annexation of ourselves or our territory to an independent Quebec without our consent. But our consent is required if we, in our traditional lands, are to be part of independent Quebec, that we may decide to stay in Canada.
Do you really think that the Quebec government would use force against you?
If we were to disobey their laws and not recognize an independent Quebec, will they send in their army?
And you believe they would do that?
Jacques Blanchard has made a comment that they'll have a police force. It is scary.
Mm-hmm.
Because in order to be recognized as a country, they would have to be seen as having an effective control over their territory.
Il est clair pour tout le monde que le gouvernement actuel du Québec n'accorde aucune espèce de priorité à Grande Baleine. Nous n'avons pas besoin de Grande Baleine.
Vous dites que Grande Baleine est abandonnée, je sais pas vous.
Oh, abandonné, c'est un bien grand mot, je ne sais pas. Disons que ce projet, il est sur la glace pour un bon bout de temps.
this fight was not just about hydroelectric development. This was about bringing back the pride of a nation, bringing back the unity of a nation and the strength of a nation.
My people have made their choice. We, and our territory, will not be forcefully included in an independent Quebec.
Et on a raté par une petite marge, hein, quelques dizaines de milliers de voix. Bon, ben dans un cas comme ça, qu'est-ce qu'on fait? On se crache dans les mains et on recommence!
Long 5 years. The land is preserved. People can still go out there. People can enjoy it. People can find peace out there. People can have some kind of a hope. If you're bold enough and if you're true to yourself, that you can make a difference.
It's a hot warm up. It's a hot warm up. It's a snowflake falling into the heart that's calling. Warm up. We are hot warm up. It's a snowflake falling cold. Wanna touch your soul, give you warm up, give you home. It's a feeling, even you know it's fire. You gotta warm